Most people who want to work for the World Bank, IMF or any other regional development bank make the same mistake. They see a job posting, they apply, they wait and they hear nothing. Many people don't know there's not just one path to get in. There are many, and also it highly depends if you are early in your career or later in your career. Today I am breaking down all the paths step by step. What the institutions are actually looking for, what you need to keep in mind, whether you're just starting out or you're already advanced in your career. Let's get started. My name is Leah. I am a UN officer working at the intersection of business and technology. I work with multiple international financial institutions worldwide, and today I'm going to break down how to actually get hired by them. I am a new channel, so it would really help me if you subscribe. Okay, first thing, most people think they will get directly a staff contract. And yes, these contracts do exist. Secure staff contract with great benefits located at the headquarters. But this is just one way to get in, and actually that's the most difficult one. The second door is consultant, something like a freelancer. You're being brought in for a specific deliverable or a project. No permanent contract, no benefits, but more accessible and for the right profile, well paid. But they do not hire juniors, early starters for this kind of position. The third door, via an implementing partner, a non-profit organization or a government who won a contract with the bank and who's delivering the project directly. So you work for this company, and like this you engaged with the bank directly working in the field on a specialized topic. Now this builds a great network, so if you work already with the bank you will get connections that you need, because, and here's now a fact that is similar to the UN, most positions that are published are already taken internally. The hiring manager already knows who he wants to work with, and the process is just a formality. So you really need this consultant contracts or implementing partner opportunities in order to build your network to get in as a staff later. The World Bank has two entry-level programs. One is the Junior Professional Associate. Here you can enter with a bachelor's degree. Maximum age is 28, and it's a 2 to 3 years well-paid contract. Now for the second program, the Young Professional Program for the World Bank, you need to have already a master's degree and 2 to 6 years experience. So this is not like a real entry level. So this program is not only designed to gain first experience, it's also designed like a leadership pipeline. Now let's have a look at the Asian Development Bank programs. They also have a youth professional program. Here the requirements is that you have minimum a bachelor's degree, better a master's degree to be honest, and around 3 years of first professional experience. So you get a 3 years fixed term contract with the possibility to conversion to a permanent contract. Now the fields that they're looking for is economics, it's a bank, but also finance, engineering, climate infrastructure, public policy, health and agriculture. The African Development Bank offers a youth program as well. It's also based in their headquarters in Abidjan. This one is the most demanding at entry. You need a master's degree, at least 3 years of experience, postgraduate experience, and you need to demonstrate hands-on experience in Africa or another developing region. English or French are required, ideally both. Maximum age is 32, so you see already these requirements are a bit more difficult, a bit more demanding than for the other banks. To give you an idea how difficult it is to get into these programs, around 8,000 to 10,000 candidates are applying every year. Around 20 to 30 are selected. This is less than 0.3% of acceptance rate. The IMF is an entirely different story. Here you need a PhD in economics to enter one of their young professional programs related to international economics, finance, macroeconomics. Maximum age at application is 34 years old, and the assignment is 2 to 3 years assignments with rotations. So if you're not on the PhD track, this door is closed. So what actually gets you selected in such competitive programs? Now, In this field, because it's an entry level, the academic record, so your grades from which university you're coming from, if you have a bachelor's, master's or PhD, matters more than for any other position. And the first experience is also important if it is related to a field of their mandate. On top of that, English is a must, but French would help you a lot in many organizations as well, especially in the African Development Bank. For the World Bank, it's more Spanish and Portuguese. That is important. And for the IMF, general language skills, not only English, but multiple language skills are beneficial. Then you definitely should understand the culture of the organizations. You need to understand their mandate. They will ask you about that. And you need to understand how your profile, how your personality fits into this culture, because many people expect something else and then they get disappointed. So these kind of institutions want to see in the interview already if you understand what you're getting yourself into and if you fit. Now let's also deep dive into the mid-level career opportunities. If you have 5 to 10, 15 years of experience in a specialized field, and this is something that most people don't know, and actually these opportunities are more accessible than the entry level. So you can also always first get a couple of years experience before applying for this kind of institution. It will make your application process easier. These institutions do not really hire generalists anymore. So they're looking for specialists in fields like private development, infrastructure, finance, engineering, renewable energy. Regional experience matters. Of course, sometimes you cannot have the experience in this specific country because you're not from this country, but to have experience in regional development of developing countries, it is an advantage to get into these institutions. Now, the consultants are heavily searched for on mid and professional higher career levels, not on entry levels. So there are barely opportunities for consultants at entry levels. Now, here we have fields also like policy review, technical assessments, system implementations, field work in engineering. But now here's the thing, very often these consultant contracts are not published officially because sometimes they are being filled by a service provider or implementing partner, and they had to win a specific agreement first in order to work with this bank or international financial institutions. And then you need to find the implementing partners who have a contract with this bank, so you can apply to them if you're not working for them already. And that's how you get into a project with the international financial institutions, and that's how you gain the experience. So which service provider and implementing partners are often working with international financial institutions or other intergovernmental organizations like the UN? Very often I hear Deloitte, PwC, GIZ, Palladium, and hundreds of more specialists that I'm going to list in the descriptions. So they win a contract, they're looking for a specialist, they're publishing the contract. Often they mention already in their job posting that they're looking for someone who is going to work for them, but in a project for a specific bank or intergovernmental organization. So maybe you're lucky, you're already working with some of the implementing partner or service providers. If not, watch out the positions that they are publishing and wait until they publish something which is related to a project with one of these institutions. That is really your best step in. I know many people who are working as a staff for IMF, World Bank, the UN. They have been before consultants via freelancing contracts or via the service providers implementing partners, and then the position internally was opened for them. And even though it was published externally, this position was meant for them because they were working for years already with this organization, and that's how they got a permanent staff contract with a very high pay. So that's your best shot. If you do not have experience in non-profit organizations, intergovernmental organizations, or in the field of the development countries, but you're coming from the private sector, how you translate your experience for the role is the most important thing. And then the referral reality. At mid-career level, being known is more important than the experience itself. So you need to make yourself visible. Contact the recruiter or hiring manager before on LinkedIn. Try to go to events for networking, career fairs, everything related to this. Try to get an internship before you apply for a youth program. Show up at conferences, events, and talk to people. I know it's difficult for me too, but at a mid-career level, it is a long game. It works mostly with referrals, maybe just 10% are actually hired via the normal application process. So this is your way to secure a very good contract on a mid-career level, and trust me, it's going to be worth it. 2 seconds on the application itself. Your CV should not be longer than 2 pages. Recruiters are very busy and needs to match the keywords of the job description and needs to speak development language as discussed before, and not revenue, benefits, profit language, right? And then your application letter, your motivation letter should reflect the fit of your profile to the role, to the organization, and should not be just copy, paste, or summary of your CV. Now, one fact is the person who gets hired is rarely the most qualified one. It's the one that is the most prepared and the most visible. And the timelines for the application process. Remember, these institutions are slowly. So the application process for youth programs take up to 1 year. They are only being published once per year. And for the mid-career level or higher, normally up to 6 months. As a summary, entry level is more about academic excellence and the right program and patience. And the mid-career or higher level is more about specialization, visibility, and the long game. If you like my content, please subscribe and see you next week.